quickly again, we've done this in a lot of detail in the previous lecture, which is the reality of the jinn. What are some of the physical characteristics of the jinn? What are the jinn made of? What type of fire? Smokeless fire. Go back to my lecture. What did I theorize? What are the jinn made of? My humble hypothesis is energy. Take it or leave it as not based on the Quran and Sunnah. Is just my, in light of modern science, there's this intuition that I've personally believe, and the more I study and the more I read, the more this is personally I believe this. But again, there's not Quran and Sunnah. They're a type of energy. A type of energy. So if they're a type of energy, how fast can they go? Quite literally, the speed of light. Quite literally. Quite literally, they travel at the speed of light, right? If they're energy, then do physical structures block them? No. Just like my phone is working right now and we're inside the room, right? Just like radio waves, just like other waves are coming into this room, and the physical structure has nothing to do with them. It's nothing. They're not body. And this also, by the way, I talked about this. A lot of people say, what is the original form of the jinn? Well, who told you they have an original form? Who told you that? They don't, most likely, they don't have an original form. There is no such thing as an original form for that which doesn't have a shape. They don't have any. So they're shapeshifters, for the modern science fiction guy. They can change shape because that's a part of their nature. That Allah created them so that they can accommodate. They're not a particular body. So they're made out of smokeless fire, so this makes them invisible to us, right? And this also, so they have the capacity to, and this is, we know this from the Quran and Sunnah, we also know this from our own experiences. They have the capacity to transfer from one energy to another. I'm using my vernacular. So they can become physical, and they can be seen to us when they want to. So how do they do that? In our modern vernacular, they'll simply shift into the color spectrum of light waves. Because for us, what's the only energy we can sense and feel? It's a very, very small window. This is physics, by the way, or the physics guys here. What is the only energy that we can see, I should say? It's a very small window, and that's red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet, green, blue, indigo, violet, the colors of the spectrum, right? So the jinn have the capacity to just move their energy into that level, if you like, and they can then appear to us. They have the capacity to project their voice so that we can hear the energy of the sound, but it's all energy. It's all, that's a part of who they can be. So they are invisible, and Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُمْ. Iblis and his tribe can see you from places you cannot see them. So in this regard, they have the upper hand. They can see you and you cannot see them. They can make their presence known to you. You don't have any clue where they are or not. Okay. Also, we learn that the jinn, generally speaking, are more stronger than men physically. This doesn't mean they have infinite power. Only Allah has that power. It just means that an average jinn is physically stronger than an average man. Just like an average man is physically stronger than an average woman. That's all it is. Therefore, some jinns are weaker than average people. Some jinns are weaker than a child. But average strength of a jinn is stronger than the average strength of a man. This doesn't mean they're all powerful. This means maybe you need 3, 4, 5 people to hold a jinn down if they're in a body, let's say. Doesn't mean that they're all powerful, right? Only Allah Azza wa Jal is. Also, once you understand, again, your fear becomes natural rather than supernatural. And another thing that we learned from the story of Sulaiman and Sheba, Bilqis, the queen of Sheba, another thing that we learn is that the jinn have a very unique power, which is truly bizarre, and physicists who are Muslims should really marvel at this, and that is the power to transform matter into energy and back into matter again. And that's something that we are trying to figure out how to do. E equals mc squared. Energy and matter are related, we know this. And the jinn have the power to do this. How do we know this? The throne. The throne of Bilqis, or the queen of Sheba, the throne that from Yemen to Jerusalem. قال عفريت من الجن. Now, jinns, we talked about this in the last class, there are many levels, and ifrit are the most evil and the most powerful. Ifrit are what Western literature calls demons of the jinn. These are the worst of the worst. So the ifrit said, I can bring you the throne before you even stand up. Which makes total sense, physically speaking, from physics I mean. If the jinn can go and come back at the speed of light, and this one jinn is so powerful. Now again, this is my 2 cents, and I said this in the other class. It is as if Allah is saying this is the max that any jinn can possibly do. Because Sulaiman had control over all the jinns. And one of them said, just one, which means the rest, they don't have that power, right? So we need to put things into perspective, that the jinns are not all of them so powerful. So the fact that one only said that he can do this clearly shows what? That the rest are not qualified to do it. And that was the strongest and the best. So therefore we need to understand that what is the strength of the strongest jinn that maybe we have ever seen. He can pick up the throne of Sheba. Okay, in these days a crane can do that. I'm just saying, right? It's not as if the jinn can pick a star up or the moon. You see what I'm saying? It's a physical strength that we can understand. And what was miraculous, or not, I should say, what was supernatural for us was what? Is that to transport it. And it is well known that this throne is going to be inside the palace, that if he were to take the throne, it would not be flying in the air. People are not going to see it flying. Rather, it would disappear there and appear in front of Sulaiman, which means what? E equals mc squared here, right? Einstein was probably right in this regard. So is beam me up, Scotty, right? This is what, and this is what we believe, if we believe in the story, that it is possible. Whether we will ever have that power, I would say never. I don't think so. But what do we learn from this? Somehow the jinn have that power. Somehow the jinn have the power to take matter, transform it to energy, take it all the way back, and then reproduce it, right? And by the way, this is something that is well known, mutawatir, from the stories of what's happening and whatnot, that it is possible for a magician to just produce an item that was lost, literally, and he goes, here it is, right? Or looking into crystal balls and whatnot that we see, that you see things in there, and these are the jinns that you see playing around and whatnot. You know, so all of this, it is possible, and we know this from our own experiences in humanity.